rock star, enthusiastic, engaging, and respectful. These are just a few of the accolades that are attributed to the recipient of the 2020 Professor of the Year Award, Professor Emily Baum from the History Department. Imagine that you have to create 5 brand new courses over a scant 2-year period. Then imagine getting almost perfect student ratings for all of those courses almost every quarter. Well, that's exactly what Professor Baum did. And she did it in part, according to her department chair, through her intentional, thoughtful, and dedicated commitment to teaching and mentoring. Now, her classes, like many of yours, are often quite large, and she also includes quite a bit of writing. Now, initially, she assumed that her students' rhetorical skills were a little stronger than they actually were. In addition, she found out that they found her prompts confusing and her rubrics unclear. Well, what to do about that? So this is where some of the intentionality comes in. She hightailed it down to the Office of Writing and Communication, as well as to the Division of Teaching Excellence and Innovation, and took workshops to enhance her instructional skills. One of the very first things she did was she decided she needed her students to be better critical writers by becoming better critical readers. Now, that's not necessarily new. However, what she did was to use her own writing as the examples. Now, I'm assuming that initially she didn't reveal the authorship because she gave them one not so strong paper and another one that was much better. She also distributed a much improved rubric, which they went over, and then she let them have at it, fire at will, which they did. They had a very engaging conversation about what makes a strong academic paper. And they probably felt comfortable doing that because initially they weren't giving feedback to their classmates. However, as time went on and they realized the importance of that critical feedback, they started doing peer critique. Now, another thing about history courses is that many of us were taught history by memorizing names, places, and dates. And Professor Baum readily admitted that she also started teaching her courses that way. But once again, her students gave her feedback and said they really didn't feel that that was the best way for them to learn history. Instead, one of them suggested that on the test, she give them a timeline. And instead of memorizing things, they should critically analyze the relationships among those different eras. Well, again, she respected her students' input. She adopted that strategy to very great effect. As one of her undergraduates noted about her instructional prowess, quote, her enthusiasm for this course was so visible and entwined in the material she presented that it made it so much fun. I was hesitant about this course since it's not really my area of interest, but after taking it, I genuinely became interested in learning more about the historical and social understanding of medical culture. Thank you, Professor Baum, for making a perfectly entertaining and educationally organized course, end quote. Now, her graduate students have also benefited from her modeling excellent teaching. She's encouraged them to continue their own professional development for teaching by taking workshops. And so it's not surprising that they've gone on to get fellowships, to earn grants, and also to get academic appointments. So it's also no wonder that she was selected as the 2020 recipient of the Professor of the Year Award. Congratulations, Professor Baum.
Hi, Professor Baum. Congratulations on your accomplishment. Thank you for making my history course with you a memorable experience. I was absolutely delighted to be given the opportunity to highlight your brilliant qualities as a professor. I remember taking your class alongside some of my toughest math courses, and sometimes feeling unsure of myself academically at that time. Many times I would feel motivated to go to some of my classes, but I would remember that I would have your class right afterwards. And so that would sort of force me to attend my lectures as well as attend yours because I would decide to attend your class. Her class was like attending a storytelling section on Chinese history. The energy and the delivery was on par with some of the best storytellers I've ever had in my life. Her extensive knowledge of the subject and the material would always blow me away. She would continuously create a beautiful learning space where questions were encouraged. And this was the experience I really had hoped having here at UCI, wherein they said that we had world class professors. I was absolutely taken away by how amazing Professor Baum was and how motivated it got me to learning about more about Chinese history. So congratulations again for your accomplishment, Dr. Baum. I really appreciate all of your enthusiasm, encouragement, and knowledge in your subject. Please continue teaching this course. It is absolutely going to be an amazing experience for other students to come. Thank you for everything and congratulations again.
So, one thing I hope students come away with is that history matters, that we can't understand the political and social worlds that we live in today without first understanding how we got here. So, I teach modern Chinese history, world history, and the history of medicine, which might seem like three fairly disparate fields. But one of the things that I try to stress across all of my classes is that the way we think about the world today and the way we think about our place in the world today is really the product of layers upon layers of history that might not be immediately visible to the naked eye. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because if we can recognize that the systems and structures and stereotypes that we experience today are really the products of historical processes rather than just natural givens that exist out there in the world, then we can also become empowered to envision alternative futures. And so history doesn't just give us the chance to understand why things are the way they are, but it also gives us the opportunity to conceive of alternative outcomes and alternative futures, right? Outcomes that are more equitable and more just. And so that's one thing that I really want my students to leave my classes having learned.